CBS News Bay Area Afternoon Edition with Ann Makovic.
Right now on the afternoon edition, breaking news out of the Trump administration. President Trump has fired Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem. He posted on social media that she will step down at the end of the month after a little over a year in her role. Two administration officials tell CBS News she was in a rocky position with the president because of her handling of the Minneapolis immigration crackdown, the fatal shootings of 2 Americans there, and her recent congressional testimony. In the last hour, Noem spoke in Nashville, but she didn't address the firing. Instead, she focused her message on touting DHS accomplishments.
This last year, we've seen our murder rate in the United States of America drop to the lowest level since it's ever been recorded. We've also taken 1.7 billion lethal doses of drugs off our streets and stopped them from coming into the United States. That means 1.7 billion people will still be with us because of the work that our agencies and our work has done. Our Coast Guard is
President Trump says she will now serve in a new role called Envoy for the Shield of the Americas. And the president says Noem will be replaced by Senator Mark Wayne Mullen, a Republican from Oklahoma. Mullen called Noem a friend while speaking to reporters before today's announcement. Now, Senator Mullen is a first-term senator, a former congressman for Oklahoma, a member of the Senate Armed Services Committee, and a former MMA fighter. He is set to replace Noem as Homeland Security Secretary at the end of the month. We are also tracking developments out of the Middle East and their impact here at home. The Dubai airport has reopened with limited flights to bring stranded travelers back home. This is a look at India and France after the first round of flights landed from Dubai. And the first of those flights is arriving here at SFO in about an hour. We're told it's carrying a tour group from the Bay Area. Veronica Macias is live there with much more. Veronica.
Well, Mugo, the Emirates flight here carrier now opening this counter some 20 minutes ago. And what we're seeing is some people checking in for a flight that's headed to Dubai at this hour. They're checking in. But most importantly, this Middle East carrier is bringing home some Americans in just over an hour, as you can see on the screen, arriving at 1:16. We are told this is a group of people who were vacationing in the region, a large number of them seniors over the age of 70. FlightAware at the moment is showing the flight has a lot of people on board. It's an Airbus, which is flying nonstop from Dubai, a 16-hour flight scheduled to arrive just after 1 p.m., but now slightly delayed. These people are among the nearly 17,000 Americans who managed to repatriate after the initial airstrikes on Iran. The State Department says they have helped some 6,500 people evacuate, with a government-chartered flight going out yesterday and more now being efforted. An estimated 10,000 Americans managed to get out on their own. This is the first commercial flight that is coming into SFO since the conflict in the Middle East unfolded. And remember, Iran is targeting airports. In Dubai, the airport is said to have been struck by drones. So in just a short amount of time, we're going to be seeing the first faces of Americans landing here at SFO after leaving that region. And of course, we can imagine we're going to be seeing some family members down below that are very relieved that these people are now out of harm's way.
Oh, yeah, definitely. And I'm sure so many people are happy to be heading back home. Veronica Macias, thank you so much for your time today. Now, here's a live look at the state capitol where flags are flying at half staff. And we've learned one of the 6 U.S. service members killed in Kuwait by an Iranian strike is believed to be from Northern California. Chief Warrant Officer Robert Marzan was from the Sacramento area. The Pentagon says the 54-year-old is believed to be one of the 6 victims, but his identification must be completed by a medical examiner. Marzan's brother shared a statement to our partners in Sacramento saying, quote, "My brother died for our country. He was a lifetime serviceman, loved his family and country." Meantime, across the Atlantic, American allies in the Middle East and beyond are trying to shoot down a barrage of drones and missiles as Iran continues to retaliate. And lawmakers on Capitol Hill are showing their support for President Trump by voting against resolutions that would limit his ability to carry out strikes. Natalie Brand has much more from the White House.
Smoke could be seen rising over Doha as Iran steps up retaliatory attacks on U.S. allies in the Middle East.
We were attacked The aggressors are responsible for the consequences.
CBS News has learned Arab states say they're running dangerously low on interceptors to take down missiles fired from Iran. U.S. Central Command released this video Thursday arguing the Iranian regime's ability to impact U.S. forces and regional partners is rapidly declining.
Somebody said, on a scale of 10, where would you rate it? I said about a 15. And we're going to continue to do well.
President Trump on Wednesday again sought to make the case that Iran was going to strike first.
I think if we didn't do it first, they would have done it to Israel and give us a shot if that was possible.
Iran's foreign minister called the U.S. sinking of an Iranian ship in international waters an atrocity and added, quote, "Mark my words, the U.S. will come to bitterly regret the precedent it has set."
U.S. lawmakers' support for the operation remains split largely along party lines. A war powers resolution aimed at limiting further military action failed in the Senate.
The yeas are 47, the nays are 53. The motion to discharge is not approved.
But some GOP lawmakers who approve of the administration's actions are signaling that could change if this expands in scope.
My view has always been ground troops will require congressional authorization. So they're currently none involved, none have been involved, and they're following the War Powers Act.
Later today, the House will vote on a War Powers resolution, but it also seems likely to fail.
And conflict in the Middle East continues to rock global markets. Here's a live look at the big board right now. The Dow is down more than 1,000 points. Wall Street had stabilized a bit yesterday, but the war is still concerning to investors. Oil prices are also climbing today, reaching their highest level since June of last year. And that jump in oil is having an impact on gas prices. AAA reports overnight the national average reached $3.25 per gallon. That's up 5 cents from just yesterday. And here in the Bay Area, we are seeing higher prices. The San Francisco average is just under $5 a gallon. In Oakland, it's at $4.85. And in San Jose, it's at $4.79. And of course, you can stay with us for the latest on the war in Iran and its impact here by heading to our website, kpix.com, or stream us on the free CBS News app. And now to your first alert weather. Looking live outside right now at the Golden Gate Bridge. A beautiful view there. Let's check in with meteorologist Jessica Birch.
Mugo, you and I need to go check out the marina and just go on a nice walk this afternoon.
Yes.
It's beautiful weather to do so, and everyone across the board is dealing with this amazing forecast. Here's a look of your out the door first alert weather headlines, though, before we even head outside. Those winds are still ramping up anywhere up to around 30 miles per hour today. Other than that, though, it's a dry day for us today. Dry weather as we dive into this weekend's forecast with a big warm up on the way that definitely makes us feel like it's spring, even though the first day of spring is still a couple days away. It's on the 20th. So let's drop this real fast. And I want to start off with these current conditions. You step out the door today, while our daytime highs, they're sitting in the low 60s along the coast, upper 60s into the city of San Francisco with that live look you saw just a second ago. Actually, better yet, take a live look behind me right now from our rooftop overlooking the Bay Bridge in the East Bay. Daytime highs today over in Oakland are sitting in the upper 60s. Some of our microclimates warming up into the 70s. For example, Napa or Novato, or even all the way down into Hollister as well. And no matter where you live in the Bay Area, today and tomorrow, lasting into this weekend's forecast, we're all going to notice a warm up, eventually into the upper 70s throughout some of those inland microclimates. But let's take it a step back. It's a breezy day for us today, right? Wind gust right now already up to around 20 miles per hour. I advanced the clock up to around 5 o'clock. We're seeing those breezy conditions sweep in from the northwest, still along the coast and the peninsula, anywhere up to around 25 to 30 miles per hour from San Francisco into Half Moon Bay. I'm going to talk more about these winds coming up in just a bit and when they're finally going to let off. But for now, back to you, Mugo.
Okay, Jess, thank you so much. Elon Musk is back in a San Francisco federal courtroom today where he is expected to continue his testimony about the sale of Twitter. Investors allege that back in 2022, Musk made false statements in an effort to tank the stock and buy the company for a lower price. Shareholders say one of the statements was a tweet he made saying the deal was on hold. It's something Twitter never agreed to and the merger agreement didn't even allow. Musk's lawyers refute the claims, saying he never intended to lower the stock price or harm investors. President Trump is being sued again over another attempt to impose global tariffs. Now, just last month, the Supreme Court struck down sweeping tariffs imposed under the International Emergency Economic Powers Act. Shortly after that decision, Trump announced a 15% tariff on most products and countries under Section 122. But 22 attorneys general across the country, including California's Rob Bonta, say Section 122 is an archaic statute that doesn't apply today.
It relies on an outdated system of currency exchange that we don't even use anymore, which means it's entirely irrelevant in this case. In fact, the president's tariffs don't meet any of the requirements of the law. In short, Section 122 doesn't grant the president the authority to impose these tariffs. He's desperately grasping at straws here. The president's rationale for these unlawful tariffs has gone from unreasonable to ridiculous.
Meanwhile, Trump's sweeping tariffs are expected to take effect sometime this week. Still ahead at noon and streaming on CBS News Bay Area, the war in Iran is adding new fuel to the fight over Homeland Security funding. Why some Democrats say they still don't plan on voting to end the partial government shutdown. Plus, the $1 million boost for a Bay Area company using robots to clear defensible space at record pace. And here's a live look outside before we head to break. Again, it was a beautiful day out there. We'll be right back. Welcome back. We're taking a live look at Capitol Hill right now, where Congress is expected to vote on a bill to fund the Department of Homeland Security this afternoon. Funding lapsed several weeks ago, which triggered a partial government shutdown. But ICE and Customs and Border Protection have not been affected. That's because both agencies received a multi-billion-dollar cash infusion just last summer through President Trump's so-called One Big Beautiful Bill Act. Democrats say funding isn't the problem, but how the money is being used, while Republicans say it's time to end the shutdown amid the war with Iran.
That's the most outrageous thing I've seen, that we should fund DHS. The threats to our homeland are real. This is insane to not fund the Department of Homeland Security at this stage and the threat level is criminally irresponsible.
They have tons of money, and instead of using it to focus on Homeland Security alone, they're using it to terrorize Americans. This is not a case of them not having the resources to do their job. This is a case of them not doing their job to keep us safe.
The Department of Homeland Security also oversees TSA, the Coast Guard, and FEMA. Workers have continued doing their jobs during this shutdown, but they're now starting to miss paychecks.
The men and women screening more than 2 million passengers every single day, the people standing between our aviation system and those who would do it harm, they're showing up, they're doing their job, and they're not getting paid. It's not just unfair, it's reckless. The workforce is too important, too essential to be used as political leverage.
The House is expected to vote on the funding measure in just the next hour. A Bay Area company is getting $1 million in funding for its contribution to wildfire management. BurnBot, a tech company based in South San Francisco, worked with researchers at Stanford to make a mobile device that can scorch 22 acres of vegetation in just 3 days. That amount of land would typically take manual crews about 2 weeks to cover. Verizon awarded them a Community Disaster Resilience Prize earlier this morning. Let's go back now to our first alert weather. Let's take a live look outside at San Jose. Let's check in with meteorologist Jessica Birch. Jess, it's beautiful outside.
Beautiful out there, but have you noticed it's been really dry too? It's been dry throughout most of the season. Of course, we've been seeing rainstorm here and there, but when it comes to our friends up into the Sierra, we're actually below average. When it comes to our Sierra snowpack right now, we're continuing to track those conditions closely here in the Weather Center, as well as our friends all the way up into the Sierra, tracking that throughout the rest of the season. Now, I want to show you what's going on for us here in the Bay Area, because the reality is we don't have a single rainstorm in sight throughout the next 7 days. It is going to be a dry stretch of 7 days here in the Bay Area, with daytime highs on the rise right around the corner. Daytime highs today are sitting in the 60s from San Francisco across the Bay Bridge over into Oakland. You pass the Golden Gate Bridge up into Nevada, we're talking about 70s there. And we also have some 70s in our microclimates like Hollister as we head outside today, with sunny skies all throughout the Bay, pretty much all throughout the whole state. state of Northern California. But here's what's happening for us as we head outside today. And I want to start off with those winds because just around noon today, well, right now, I should say, we're already up to around 25-mile-per-hour wind gust in places like San Francisco, all the way over into Half Moon Bay. And advancing the clock into that 5 o'clock hour tonight, we'll see wind gust close to around 30 miles per hour down into Santa Cruz, continuing to sweep in from the northwest, with over 30-mile-per-hour winds forecasted into the Santa Clara Valley. So one thing important to note, this strong gusty setup that we've been dealing with for over 24 hours now will last another day as we head into our Friday forecast. Luckily, the winds start dying down as we head into Friday afternoon. We are left with calmer winds and warmer weather right around the corner as we head into Saturday and Sunday's forecast before we start to average out into next week. Now, this is the Bay forecast. Notice those numbers, mid-70s right around the corner in places like San Francisco and Oakland. If you think that's warm, let's head over into our inland spots where daytime highs are jumping all the way up into the upper 70s, close to the 80s for us this weekend. So this is the weekend to start planning ahead, maybe do an outdoor activity, find a nice trail, just make sure you're wearing plenty of sunscreen. Oh, and you set your clock to the right time too, daylight saving time right around the corner. And of course, as we head into next week, that's when temperatures will start to average out Monday and Tuesday. For now, back to you.
All right, Jess, thank you for that reminder. And still ahead, a plan to build a youth camp in the hills of an East Bay community getting a lot of pushback. We'll tell you why a project to serve hundreds of kids is now in jeopardy. Welcome back. So later today, a Bay Area nonprofit will pitch a new campsite to the Alameda County Board of Supervisors. The Mosaic project is looking to get kids off screens and into nature, but a land use board previously denied their conditional use permit. The project is hoping to build a new 37-acre campsite on Cold Canyon Road in Castro Valley next to a local winery. The nonprofit provides 4th and 5th graders throughout the East Bay with a week-long learning experience based in nature. The organization has operated at rented sites for more than 2 decades now and says a dedicated campus would allow it to expand its work. But opponents worry about wildfire risks in the wooded area and the strain on local water supplies and increased traffic. Some locals say the proposal doesn't fit the property's zoning laws.
It's a land use issue, period. Pure and simple. This property is not zoned for what they're trying to do.
They are trying to characterize us as a quote unquote urban use in a rural area, when in fact a camp for kids is a rural use in a rural area.
They're trying to say that their primary purpose is ag, and that is not true.
Now, while some neighbors have indicated support, strong local opposition could kill the project, potentially shutting down the existing overnight camp program for good. Conflict is brewing between major coffee chains and the Trump administration, why RFK Jr. is targeting Dunkin' Donuts. All right, so tension is brewing, get what we did there, between one of New England's most beloved brands and Health Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr.
We're going to ask Dunkin' Donuts and Starbucks, show us the safety data that show that it's okay for a teenage girl to drink an iced coffee with 115 grams of sugar in it. I don't think they're going to be able to do it.
Federal dietary guidelines published earlier this year recommend meals should have no more than 10 grams of added sugar, but nearly every drink on the Dunkin' menu exceeds that amount. Still, the governor of Massachusetts is not backing down. She posted a simple dare on social media saying, "Come and take it." Starbucks and Dunkin' have not responded to his comments. Hey, life is short, okay? Sometimes you got to make room for enjoyment. And that is it for the afternoon edition. Remember, we are streaming 24/7 on the free CBS News app. Our next newscast is at 5 o'clock. Have a great afternoon, everyone. See you tomorrow.